Okay, hello guys, welcome to the webinar today, and we are going to start in about like 1 or 2 minutes. So since today should be the second webinar we had in this week, so I think we will have fewer people in today's webinar. But if you have any questions, you can just let me know anytime in the chat, because since this will be a smaller session today, just feel free to let me know if you have any questions throughout the webinar. All right, and also just before we start, let's also do some quick survey. So anyone is taking the SAT, say, next year? So are you guys taking the SAT next year, or do you plan to take the SAT next year? So I know for now, only the March, May, June SAT are open for registration, but if you plan to take any SAT next year, you can just let me know in the chat. Anyone? Wow. Or if you are not taking the SAT, it's okay. You can just let me know in the chat as well. So anyone has not yet decided if you want to take the SAT? Anyone? Okay, all right. So I felt like we're a little bit shy today, but it's okay. Yeah, we will also have more discussions throughout this webinar. And also for me, when I was in high school, I took the SAT in my junior year actually, because I moved to the States in my sophomore year. So I wasn't studying the SAT in my sophomore year, but I did take the SAT in my junior year. I took it twice actually. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's about the time and we can get started for today's webinar. Okay, so welcome guys to join the webinar today, and this will be the SAT preparation webinar. And the goal of today's webinar is to help you guys to set a study plan or just to set a testing plan for next year. So if you are planning to take the SAT next year, this will be a pretty good chance for you to also review the whole timeline and then see which plan works best for you. And also you got to know some of the new features of the SAT. So do you guys know that the SAT is going digital next year? If you have heard about this, you can type 1 in the chat. Do we actually know that the SAT is going digital next year? Really? None of you guys? Okay, yeah, so someone actually have heard about that. Yeah, so if you haven't heard about this, I hope I didn't surprise you guys with that news. Yeah, so the SAT is also going digital next year, which means you also need to know some of the new features and also the new information in the new testing. Okay, all right, so just a self-introduction. My name is Dennis, and I'm the teacher at the academy. Mostly I taught like high school math courses, middle school math courses, and also a few math competitions. And also I have been to the States for about 10 years already, I think over 10 years. And I took, I attended high school in New York, and also I went to colleges and also, for master's and also bachelor's degree. And there's just some background about me. Okay, and also for today's webinar, we are going to talk about 3 stuff. The first one will be the changes in the digital SAT, because as I asked just in the chat box, I think some of you guys haven't heard about this news yet. So we will also spend some time to see some of the new changes in the digital SAT. And also I'm going to talk about how you can study for the digital SAT, because with the new format, you will also have a new strategy to study the SAT. And then we will also talk about the SAT preparation timeline. So if you are planning to take the SAT anytime next year, you will also be able to set your own study plan. Okay. All right. So first of all, let's take a look on some of the key changes in the digital SAT. So here will be some of the 3 key, changes. The first one is the testing time is reduced by 1 hour. Right, which should be a pretty good news, because in the past, the paper SAT takes 3 hours to just complete. And the new format will only give you 2 hours to work on the problems. And also now in the math section, you can use the calculators just in any sections you want. And also for the reading and writing sections, you don't have to read a super long passage in the new digital SAT. And instead, you will just have one smaller passage, and then you have one problem asking about that passage. So you don't have to read a whole long passage. Okay, so given all these changes, do you guys think that the SAT is becoming easier or maybe becoming harder? What's your thoughts on the new SAT? Easier or harder? Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Just like hearing about those updates. Okay, so someone's saying harder. What about the others? Harder? Okay, yeah. So I think you guys are true about the thing here. So first of all, SAT is still a standardized test, which means your scores are based on the percentiles. So in terms of like say getting a score among older people, the test is not like significantly harder than before. But with the new updates, the SAT is changing a lot. So we can take a look on the reasons behind all these changes, right? The first change is due to like we have less problems involved in the test. So I will talk about this also as well. But in the paper SAT, we actually had 150 problems approximately in the test. But with the new format, we only have a little bit less than 100 problems in the test. This is why the test time is reduced by 1 hour. And also, just in the past, the math questions with calculators allowed are typically harder than the non-calculator questions. And also for the reading and writing, they will also test you guys on some of the other concepts which are not really like emphasized in the past. So let's take a look on the number of the questions. So as I said, in the paper SAT, you need to complete in total 154 SAT problems in the 3-hour time frame. And for the digital SAT, now you are only given 98 questions. So even though you have like just less time to work on the SAT, the downside is each problem is now worth more points than before. Because for the paper SAT, there could be the cases that you missed, like say 1 or 2 problems, but you can still get a perfect score on the SAT. That was pretty common. But for the new digital SAT, because you have fewer problems, if you maybe miss like say 1 or 2 problems, that's going to hurt your score a lot. Okay, so yeah, that is why we should like be really careful on answering the questions, and you want to avoid any careless mistakes in the SAT. So here will be the official score conversion table from the College Board. So you can kind of see that. I will also explain what we mean by the module 1 and module 2. But as you can see, if you got a perfect score on the first module, and then if you only miss like say 2 problems from the second module, this will be already 740 points for the reading section. And you can see 60 points are deducted already. So this will be like a really huge penalty, especially compared with the paper SAT. And similar stuff can be found in the math section as well. But the math section is not that obvious compared with the reading section, because in the past, we also got about 58 math questions before, and the new digital SAT has 44 math questions. So not a big deal. And also it's kind of affected as well. So like say if your goal is to get 1500 in the SAT, and you want to get 780 in math and also 720 in English, the reading and writing, then you actually need to you can only get 1 to 2 questions wrong in math, and then maybe 4 questions wrong in English. So this will be a very low margin of error. Okay, now let's talk about the math questions. So the good news is now calculators are allowed in the new digital SAT, because in the new testing platform, there will be a just built-in calculator that you can use. So math section allows calculators throughout the sections. However, especially when we see the problems in the paper SAT, the questions in the calculator allowed sections are typically harder than the non-calculator section. So here will be one example. So the 2 problems both test on solving the equations, and they are also coming from just the same test. But you can see here on the left-hand side, we have the problem in the non-calculator section. And I'm sure that you guys can find the answer already, right? You can maybe type in the chat. So can you guys just see the answer for the first one right away? What's going to be the answer for the first problem on the left? Yeah, didn't expect to do some math problems in the webinar, right? But take a guess. See if you guys can do the calculation. Okay, Yeah, so for this one here, okay, thanks so much, Linya. Yeah, that's right. So for this one here, we know the answer choice will be A, right? You don't even need to have a scratch paper. Just like do the mental math and you can see the X should be a 9. But however, on the right-hand side, we also have a problem about solving the equations. And the equation itself is actually simpler because we only got a linear equation. But you can also see that the calculations involved in the second problem are much harder than the first problem. Because with calculators allowed, they expect you guys to use a calculator to solve all the problems. So of course, the calculations are going to be harder. But if you are like me, who just don't like using calculator, like I'm just going to use a scratch paper and solve the second one. If you are this type of student as well, you are going to take longer to solve the problems. Yeah, so there will be some of the downside as well. Okay. And the last part here will be about the writing and language, like reading and writing sections, actually. So in this section here, the grammar part is going to be a lot more important than the paper SAT. Because in the paper SAT, you're given a very long passage to look at. So that's going to be the reason why there are a lot of harder questions on the reading comprehension part, because you have to understand the whole passage in order to answer the questions correct. However, with the shorter passage, reading becomes an easier task for a lot of students because we are really good at like reading a shorter passage, right? Yeah, they give you a Desmos calculator, that's right. I mean, kind of, so you can still input all the numbers into the calculator and then find the result, of course. Yeah, but for the digital SAT, the grammar parts becomes much harder, or I should say just on average, it becomes much harder. And this could be seen from some of our mock tests from before, actually. So I will give you guys some of the data maybe towards the next part here. Yeah, so you can see here on average, people got just like worse in the grammar sections, especially because we have a shorter passage and the College Board want to test you guys on the grammar sections, okay? Yeah, so here will be like some of the new formats as well. So not only you have the passage, but you also even have like say the study notes. This will be how College Board call this kind of the passage. They say this will be the study notes, and you also have a few bullet points when you want to read this. So of course, when you are given a list of all this like bullet points, it means nothing to like say do reading comprehension, right? The reading comprehension will be super easy. However, the grammar part will be a lot harder than the paper SAT. So this will be why the reason. Okay. All right, so this will be just the 3 biggest changes in terms of the content and also for the problems. But also, what about the formats? What about the formats of the problem? So actually, in addition to all this contents, we also have a huge change of the format, which is pretty normal, right? So for all the digital testing in the States, like the ACT, for example, and also GRE, and also the other digital test, they often like use the adaptive test format, which means the problems you are given are based on how you did in the previous problems. And here will be how the adaptive test format work on the SAT. So at first, you are given a module 1, which has a broad mix of easy, medium, and also hard questions. This will be pretty similar to the paper SAT when you have like medium, easy, hard questions all together. But then based on how you did in the first module, you will be given 2 kinds of problems in the next module. So if you did not so good in the first module, you will be given some easier questions. So you will get easy, medium questions in the second module, which means you will have a better time in the second half of the class. But if in terms of the final score, your score will be also affected, because if you join the module 2, your final score can only be as large as 600. So you can only get at most 600 points in this section. But if you did pretty good in the first module, then you are given some harder questions in the second module. In that case, your score is going to be like at least 450 points, and this will also be the only way you can get to above 600. All right, so this will be kind of the adaptive format. So as a result, I'm sure that you guys are really good at math, so we can also kind of do some calculations. So we know that in the first module, like all the students are going to have a pretty like normal distributive scores, right? Because it's a module 1. But in the second module, since the problems are becoming easier, we know people tend to answer more questions correctly. So this means we have more people on the 600 side compared with the 200 side. And similarly in the second module, because the problems are harder, you will also expect people to did poorly in the second module. So you will have more people towards the 450 side. So if you kind of like just do the average on that, you can see like both high or low scores are going to be just not as common as before. However, it will be a lot easier to score between 1100 to 1300. I think that's also what happened in the digital PSAT. Have you guys taken the digital PSAT? Yes or no? Have you guys taken the digital PSAT? So I think for the digital PSAT, we also had kind of this situation. So a lot of my students got like say about 1300 in the digital PSAT. This will be what happened. So if you feel like you did a pretty good job, it could be because you are receiving some of the easier questions, so you think you did a pretty good job. However, total scores are affected, or like just as the other case, right? So this will be what happened exactly. Okay, and also in this new format, since I'm sure that our goal is to get as high like score in the SAT, you will also need to be prepared to have a lot of harder questions, because that's the only way to get like say 700 or even 800 in the new SAT. So if you see any harder questions, this will be my advice. If you see any harder questions in the module 2, you should be really grateful, and also you should be well relieved, because this means that you are in the second module and you did a pretty good job in the first module. Okay, so this will be my advice. Don't stress out if you see some harder questions. This is actually a good sign that you did pretty well in the first module. Okay. All right, yeah, so this will be just the adaptive format. And also, just I said, the percentile will be the same as before. So if you want to get, like, say, to higher score, like 1500, this is already the 98th percentile in the States. And if you want to get, like, say, 95th percentile, it will usually be about 1450 as the average. So yeah, you can see this will be kind of the percentiles for each of the scores. Okay, so just comparing the two tests. The old SAT paper test is like kind of just like on average, and all of you, like the candidates, are taking the same test paper. And then if you want to become the top 5%, it's usually a little bit easier. However, for the SAT digital test, if you want to still get a high score, then you need to complete the harder questions. So it's going to be kind of like the hard mode. Okay, so here will be the summary for the impact of the 4 major changes. Each question now has a higher score. So if you want to get a good result, you want to try your best to avoid, like say, any careless mistakes. And then the math questions are more difficult just because calculators are allowed and the calculations are going to be a little bit harder than before. And also you want to focus on reviewing the grammar questions because that's the hardest, like the harder part about the new reading and writing questions. And also make sure you like don't stress out if you see some harder questions. Okay, all right, so this will be all the biggest changes and also the impacts on the SAT. Any questions so far in the first part here? I think we can do a just quick QA at this moment to see if you guys have any questions about the new changes or the updates in the digital SAT. Are we good for now? Okay, so if we have no questions for now, we can also take a look at how we can study for the SAT. I'm sure that this will be why you guys are here to listen to this webinar. So based on all these changes, what's going to be the best way to study the new digital SAT? So first of all, I will give you guys some advices. So first of all, I wouldn't recommend like you guys taking like self-studying the digital SAT in the 2024. I will explain why here, but this will be not like as easy as before, I would say. And also you should allow like about 3 months to study for the test. So you should like put aside at least like 3 months to study the SAT. So Why do I like just not recommend self-studying the new digital SAT next year? Let's first take a look on how we typically self-study the SAT. So I'm not sure if you guys have done some of the learning on the SAT before, but what's going to be the best way to self-study for the SAT? So A here will be just to learn all the knowledge points about the SAT, or the B here is to do more practice, to do more exercises. So which one do you think will be more effective if you are to self-study for the SAT? So only choose one, like only choose one, if you have to choose one. Any other thoughts? I mean, you will always like do a mixture of both, right? But just in your opinion, which one will be more effective? Okay, so I think we have 2 Bs already, 3 Bs already, and we have 1 A for now. Okay, any other votes? Okay, so from my experience and also from the other students, I would say the second one is more effective in terms of self-studying for the SAT. So no matter if you learn all the knowledge points or if you want to do like say self-studying, you always need to do more practice. That's always guaranteed like to help you guys just improve your score. However, if you want to study the digital SAT next year, or self-study the SAT, by doing the problems, you are actually learning some of the patterns in the SAT problems. That's because SAT is a standardized test. So the exams themselves are very standard, and also all the knowledge points will be the same. And also there will be routines for the questions, and you can also summarize the rules by just doing more questions. You can always see the patterns by doing more questions. So in this case, you should have a really strong self-learning ability, and you can prepare for the SAT because you can really see the patterns by doing the practice. But for the new digital SAT, there will be a lot of troubles. The first one will be there are few official resources, such as the official practice or just any real like past test paper in this like on the internet, I would say. So in this case, you will have no enough practice problems for you to complete and then see the patterns. And also because the grammar here will be more important, but school here really mention grammar. Like at least for my high school, we took writing classes, we took reading classes, but what we did is just to read a few novels, read a few articles, and then we write an essay on that. That's pretty much it. So there will be a lot of like reading, writing, but the teachers didn't talk about grammars like per se. And also the math questions are going to become more difficult, which means you want to know where are going to be the most important topics and how you can avoid some of the common mistakes. So first of all, let's talk about all the resources you can use right now. So in terms of the practice, the official practice will be the 4 sets of mock tests from Blue Book or just the College Board official app. And there will be also the Khan Academy, which contains more than 100 practice questions on that. But that should be pretty much it. And in the States, there will be no real test materials at this moment because next March will be the first digital SAT in the States ever. So there will be no like digital test past papers at this moment. And also, as we demonstrated before, even though the school has like writing classes, English classes, but they wouldn't tell you like say a lot of knowledge about grammar because like they wouldn't tell you what subjects, verbs, and how you can like determine the tenses, especially in a complicated sentences. Usually, my teachers would to like just revise on my essay and tell me like this sentence here is not correct. You should revise this, something like that. But they will tell you where you made the mistakes, but they never tell you like teach you guys the grammars. So if you want to study for the SAT, it's very important to just go through all the grammar knowledge show up in the SAT. Okay, yeah, so here will be some of the questions here, which I'm sure that you guys can just do this fairly easily. But here, I just want to say that if you know the grammar knowledge, as long as we see the problems testing you guys on like say tenses or testing you guys on plural or singular, you just need to find the like the subject first. So for this problem here, where is the subject? You can type in the chat. So for this sentence here, which one is the subject? Can you guys first find the subject? Okay, yeah, so we first have Wesley here. And what about the others? And we have Ghost. Okay, and what about the others? One. Okay, so just right now we have already three possible answers here already. Yeah, so in terms of grammar and also for the English convention, the one is actually the subject in this sentence here. So if we set like say the ghost to be the subject, you will be able to pick like the plural answers, which will be not correct. In this case, the one is going to be the subject. So it's going to be one of the ghosts. So there's only one goal. And the goal is to make the holdings of the Moreland Foundation accessible to students and scholars. So you can see that based on the subject, we know the verb has to be singular and there's only one singular verb in the sentence. So you can see that if you can tell what type of question this is, you will force yourself to find the right subject for this problem here and then choose the right verb. Okay, and also for those who choose like Wesley here, like what if I replace the Wesley by another plural nouns? You will just got this one wrong, right? So it's very important that we can find the right subject. And as you can see, you have to learn this to be able to do this problem right. Okay, and also for the math questions, this will be my best part because when I study for the SAT, I pretty much just self-study the math section. I took some classes for the reading and writing, but for the math, I was really good at it, so I never studied for the math sections. But as you can see here, for the SAT, the math problems are very alike. So this will be the three math problems from the three different tests. And you can see even the number of questions are pretty similar. So this will be like the same type of the questions, even though they are asking this in different ways. However, it's the same knowledge, it's the same stuff. So if you can know how the SAT problems are testing you guys, you will be prepared to answer any kinds of questions from the same concept. If you know it's asking you guys about, like say, having exactly one solution, having like say no solution, or having infinite many of solutions. If you know there are these three cases, you will also be more prepared to study for the SAT. Yeah, so just like a summary here, if you want to self-study the SAT, next year is not an ideal option, to be honest, just because you don't have enough practice problems to tell the pattern. I'm sure that you guys are really good at self-studying and then finding the patterns, but just like for the new digital SAT, there are so few problems for you guys to tell the patterns. Yeah, and also for the grammar and also for the math problems, it's very helpful to just have someone to tell you guys what the problems will be on the test, and then you can have more time to study for that. Okay, and also just a quick quiz here. So when I talk about this section, I also mentioned how much time you need to like say save to study for the SAT. Do you guys still remember how much time I recommend you guys to study for the SAT? At least B. Okay. Yeah, what about the others? I mean, yeah, so 3 here will be a pretty good choice. Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's right. So I mentioned earlier that you need to save up, like I would say 3 months to study for the SAT. If you have like say only 1 month, typically that's not enough to just cover all the concepts or just to do enough practice problems. And I wouldn't recommend like taking a whole year to study for the SAT either, because that's going to be too long for you guys and you will like be burned out. I'm sure that after that. Yeah, I will share the playback and also maybe the slides, maybe just the playback. Yeah, later on. But this will also be the time frame like College Board suggests you guys to study for the SAT. So you can find this on their website. So they will suggest you take about 2 to 3 months of like say time to study for the SAT. And this is because like say if you want to cover all the concepts and do enough practice problems, 2 to 3 months is like sufficient. And then if we want to save like say 3 months to study for the test, usually the March and the August SAT will be the ideal testing time, because just before the March SAT and before the August SAT, you have the summer break and you have the winter break. So if you want to save like say 3 months to study for the test, this will be a pretty good choice to study for the test. And also the other timing here are not as good as August and March, especially for the May SAT. only few people take the May SAT because you guys have AP exams in May as well. So I don't see a lot of people doing the May SAT because they're taking the AP, but March, June, August will be some of the popular timing to take the SAT. Okay, yeah, so here will be some of the past experience from our students. So this will be the first student we have whose name is Joanna. So she got a perfect score on the SAT after taking the SAT summer camp at Think Academy. So yeah, so she took 2 months of study from the SAT camp we offer at Think Academy, and then she did a lot of practice problems in the last month. I think she did about 6 sets of the problems like in August, just before the test, and then see a lot of improvement from her score. So here will be some of the resources like Khan Academy as mentioned, and for the past papers, that's not going to be like valid for the digital SAT, and also we offer enough practice problems for her to practice. And also for the other student, Ryan, he also did a lot of practice problems, about 20 to 30 sets of the mock paper, and then also got a perfect score. And also he thinks that like taking the classes to learn all the concepts are pretty helpful. And also he took some one-on-one sessions. So after he has done the mock test, he also like write down the wrong questions and kind of just organize them. And then he asked the teachers in the one-on-one sessions to go through all the mistakes. So this will be some of the ways they took the SAT. All right, so here will be my advice for you guys. So in terms of like studying for the SAT, if you have like 3 months to study for the test, you should save about like say 2 months to study all the knowledge and also the question types. So this will be enough to cover all the materials from the SAT. And then, of course, throughout the preparation, you should do a mock test at least 1 every month. This will be 3 mock tests already, but if you have time, definitely just do more mock tests will help you a lot. And also in the final months, make sure you just do more practice problems and review your mistake, because that's going to be the time when you only have like say a few weeks and you want to focus on your weakness. Okay, so this will be some of the preparation advice for you guys as well. Just to summarize, you want to know the patterns, and even though you cannot learn this from doing all the like limited amount of practice problems, but there will be some classes out there to help you guys learn all the patterns and also learn all the concepts to save you more time. And also how to deal with all the challenges brought by the digital SAT, and also how we can help you guys in Think Academy to get more ready for the digital SAT. So again, because we need to save up like about 3 months to study for the test, we also offer the camp courses in the winter break and also in the summer break. So if you guys plan to take the SAT in the first half of the next year, we have the winter class for you guys to study for the SAT. And if you guys are taking the SAT after August, we also have the summer class for you guys to prepare for the SAT. So here will be a typical planning for someone taking the March SAT or like any SAT before June. So we will have the SAT winter camp just in the winter break, and also before your exam, we also have preparation and also practice problems and mock tests to help you guys get ready. And then you can take the digital SAT next year and then get your results. And for the summer, you can just now do any like summer programs or do any stuff in the summer, and you don't have to worry about the SAT. And also in May, you can focus more on the AP exam. So you can save March until May to study for the AP, and also don't worry about the SAT. Okay, so this will be kind of the rough timeline we have. And for those who are taking the SAT after, like say August, you can also now use like the Khan Academy during the winter to be a pretty good just starting point to study for the SAT. And then once you go through the Khan Academy resources, you will also know where your weakness is. If you feel like you are not really good at math, then during the spring, you can save more times to do the math practice problems or to review all the concepts. Or if you feel like you are not really good at reading and writing, you can also review all the grammar knowledge from the SAT. Okay, so you can take the spring here to just build a more solid foundation. And then during the summer, you are going to prepare for the SAT, and then you can take the SAT in August, October, November, and also December. Okay. All right, so our winter spring classes will also be offered at the Academy as well. So we have the group classes and one-on-one sessions and 2 mock tests. So there will be a whole package. So in the package, you will have 24 hours of the group classes, 4 one-on-one sessions, and 2 mock tests. And also you can ask teachers about the questions. And we also have like a study advisor to just keep track of all your homeworks. Yeah, so here will be some of the good results from our past students. So yeah, I wouldn't mention how many students got above 1,500, but we just got a lot. Okay, and also for the scholarship. So for the winter camp, we also offer you guys scholarship based on your SAT score in the 2024. So I'm not sure, have you guys seen a scholarship program like this general? So if you can get above 1450, you can already earn $500 from the scholarship. If you can get to above 1500, it's going to be $1,000 for the scholarship. And just keep in mind that the tuition here is only about 1200. And if you can get above 1550, it's already 1500 in scholarship. If you can even get a perfect score, it's going to be $2,000. So this is a very generous program, and we only offer this in the first year of our SAT classes, which is this year. So the winter camp could be the last chance you can still get all this scholarship. Okay. Does it look exciting? What do you guys feel about the scholarship? Because we have people getting the scholarships and they still couldn't believe we have such large like scholarship here. Okay, yeah. And also for the practice problems, we will also develop our own practice problems to help you guys, because there are just no enough practice problems out there to help you study for the SAT. So we are also developing our own SAT problems to help you guys study for the test. Okay. All right, so as for the SAT preparation timeline here, you can see the winter camp is offered, and we have 1 class just starting this weekend, which I think only has 1 slot left. So if you are interested, you can ask your parents and you can discuss with them to see whether you want to sign up for the SAT classes starting this weekend. If your school is not done yet, you can also sign up the later SAT courses starting just December 22nd. Yeah, so this will be another session offered for the SAT prep. Okay, and here will be just some of the schedule for the December 9th class. So we have 8 English classes, and we also have 4 math classes. And then there will be 2 mock exams offered, and you can also like book any one-on-one sessions. So here will just be the recommended like schedule to book the one-on-one sessions just right after the mock exam, but also you can book the the one-on-one sessions anytime you want. Okay, so here will be our teachers. The reading and writing teacher will be Tommy. So Tommy will be teaching all the reading and writing questions, and he also had a lot of one-on-one sessions before, and many of his students also got a good score on the SAT. And also we have Kai, who is going to be our math teacher. So she's also like helping a lot of students doing the math practice problems. And she also taught AP pre-calculus. And also we had the AP calculus cram course before, and she also taught those courses. So she's really good at high school math courses as well. Okay, and also we have a special just free event right now, which will be to sign up the SAT one-on-one consultation. Because for the webinar, I can only talk about the general planning and also some of the common cases. But if you have more questions about your own planning, you can sign up for the one-on-one consultation, and our SAT teachers will help you guys to build your own study plan based on your needs. Like say when you are going to take the test, and also how much time you have to study for the test. Okay, so we will also build the planning for you guys. If you haven't decided on how to plan the SAT, you can sign up for this one-on-one consultation and then just have a chat with our SAT teachers. Okay, yeah, you can just use your phone to scan the code, and you can just book the consultation on Calendly. All right. Okay, so for now, that will be just the all the contents for the SAT webinars today. But if you guys have any questions, we will also have the Q&A session right now. So any questions you have about the SAT, you can just ask me now. It could be any stuff. Just let me know. And here will be my WeChat account, by the way. So if you have WeChat, you can also scan the code. Okay, so seems, oh yeah, only winter class will have the scholarship. So for the winter class, we have the scholarship as shown in the slide here. But for the summer class, because it's happening next year, so we haven't set the scholarship right now. But I think it will be less than the winter scholarship because we only have this scholarship program since this is the first year we offer the test. I mean the class. Yeah, so I'm not sure about the next scholarship program at this moment, but I think that will be less because with our new like with all the other students, like here, let me show you guys the students' results. So like because they all got above 1,500, so we are not even making any money per se from the classes because we gave out all the tuition just for the scholarship. Yeah, over here because they all got above 1,500. So yeah, but for the just the new, we will still have scholarship, but I would say it will be less than this. That's just my thoughts, but I think that's very likely. So this will be the maybe the last chance to get this amount of like say scholarship. Okay. Yeah. So just let me know if you want to scan any code. I can go to that page. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions. Yeah, but if you want to just like lock on that scholarship program, then winter camp could be a good chance. How long is the winter camp? So the winter camp has 12 lessons. So let me go to the calendar here. Yeah, so this will be the schedule for the class starting on this weekend. So we have 12 group lessons. So you can see it's going from December 9th and then go to December 17th. And then we have the Christmas break, the 23rd and also the 24th. And then we will have the two more classes on 30th and also 31st. And then we will have the mock test just around this time. I think the schedule here is a little bit off. The mock test is offered like say the Monday or depending on the schedules. We haven't said that yet. But after the mock test, you can also do the review and have the one-on-one sessions. And then we will continue after the 2 weeks, and then we will have two more English classes, and then we have the four math courses. And then there will be another mock test given at the end, and then we also have the one-on-one sessions. You can schedule the one-on-one sessions during those time. Yeah, so the SAT is scheduled, I think, the first week of March, but I need to double check. But you will have plenty of time to study for the digital SAT in the March. Yes, there will be the webinar recording. So I think the recording will be available tomorrow, and I will also send that out in the group chat as well. Yeah, but thanks for asking. We'll have grammar class 2024. Yes, we do plan to offer the SAT grammar class in 2024. It's going to be like a module class, which will focus on learning all the grammar knowledge for the SAT. So we will have more information about that course, hopefully by next weekend, I would say, but definitely we are going to offer the grammar class. Okay, yeah, thanks so much for all the questions. And any other questions about the SAT or about planning the SAT? Any other questions? Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, hope the webinar helps you guys like learning more about SAT and also making the planning for you guys. Okay, yeah. So if we have no other questions, then I think this should be all for the webinar today. Thank you guys again for attending this webinar. And if you have any questions, just let me know afterwards, and also I will be happy to help you guys. Okay, so good luck on the SAT, and I hope we can all get a pretty good results from the new digital SAT. Okay, bye guys. Bye.